Greetings and salutations once again from Petaluma, California. This is the Midnight Skeptic, and today is Wednesday, the 24th of July, and it's about 3:30 right now in the afternoon. I'm finally back on somewhat of a schedule. Last week's show was recorded actually on Sunday. I was very late with it. Okay, this is the Midnight Skeptic, and this will be broadcast this Sunday, the 28th of 2024 at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on kpca.fm worldwide. And locally at 103.3 FM. And then as soon as I get done with this, I'll put it up on YouTube for all my thousands and thousands of watchers and listeners. Okay, so hello, all my followers out there. This is a happy time here in the United States of America. This is a new... there is a new energy in this country, and it's quite reminiscent of Barack Obama's first run for president in 2008. The younger generation is all enthused. Black voters are all enthused. Women are all enthused, and everybody seems to be very enthusiastic about Kamala Harris being at the top of the ticket for the Democratic Party in this upcoming election in November. There was then and will be now a bunch of hateful, racist, ignorant MAGA heads and Republicans who stoop so low in their comments about Kamala. It has already started. Okay, so here is my playing music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, like I've said in most of my introductions over the last couple of months, in my own small way, meaning this broadcast, I hope to rid this country of all MAGA heads, Republicans, GOP conservatives who aren't really conservative in the traditional sense of the word, and to make this country a happier, kinder place. And if my listeners out there can take to heart the things that I say here, and this November 5th, when they go to the voting booth, you know what I want you to do. Vote out all Republicans. That means candidates that have a capital R in parentheses right after their name. Okay? That is all I'm asking of you. Okay? And I have to thank Stan Gustafson for his YouTube commentary on my show. He says it's not really that small of a deal, what I'm doing here, but if I influence maybe 100 people to vote out all Republicans, I'll be happy. And I will never really know who did it or who didn't do it. Most of my friends already share my beliefs. Okay? After all of that is out of my system, the shout outs. Here we go. Project Censored and the three dudes that bring it into being or have brought it into being, Mickey Huff, Nolan Higdon, and Andy Lee Roth. They're all professors at various colleges. Mickey Huff at crossed over in the East Bay. Oh, shoot. These brain freezes are just so annoying. Anyway, Nolan Higdon is a professor of history at Cal State East Bay. Andy Lee Roth at UC Santa Cruz. And it will pop into my mind where Mickey Huff teaches. It's not Contra Costa College. Ah, jeez. It is so annoying. Okay. Anyway, but go to their website, Project Censored. Sign up for their newsletter. It is just chock-a-block full of good information about mostly lefty issues. And, I've gone on there and looked. And while you're there, the State of the Free Press book, which they publish every year, is coming out 2025. Okay, the one that's out now is 2024. But they're getting ready to send the State of the Free Press 2025 to the printers as we speak. They're just putting the final touches on it. Okay, Aquas Cafe and one of its founders, John Crowley. It's at 2nd and H Street here in Petaluma, down in the Foundry Wharf area. Tomorrow, a dinner is being held for retired educators, and I'm already reserved my spot there. I'm going to it. It's from 5 to 7, and I am not a professional educator. I was a private tutor for about 35 years in the afternoons. Fortunately, I had a paycheck and benefits job that allowed me to do that. And my wife started the business when we first moved up here to Petaluma, which was in 1996 and 1986. And she just helped the neighborhood kids with their reading and arithmetic. Okay, time goes on. My wife passed away in 2013, and I liked doing it so well, especially the high school and middle school kids, that I kept the business alive. And I have some of my fondest memories working with them and helping them with their teen development in again, my own small way. Okay, so I'll be there tomorrow. And they have other events at the Aquas Cafe, especially one that I've gone to a couple of times. Drinks with Shrinks. The psychotherapists around this area all come out of the woodwork and, I don't know, analyze each other, I guess. Not really, but some of the psychotherapists that I have come to know over the years did not show up, so I was kind of hoping to see them again. Anyway, okay, so that's that. The Phoenix Theater is managed by Tom Gaffey, who has, over the years, become kind of the godfather of the alternative teen set here in Petaluma. The skateboarders, the purple-haired kids, and they have found a place to hang out and practice their skateboarding. all of the seats a long time ago have been taken out of the Phoenix Theater and replaced with skateboard ramps. And one of them, who showed up occasionally, was Mina Stess, Stess. Well, she just turned 18, and she is on the United States female skateboarding team that's going to be doing their thing over in Paris. Okay, let's watch and cheer her on. All right. Ralph Scott, whose business is Squeaky Cheese Productions, LLC. He does audio books. Audio book recording is his thing, and he has a whole stable of voice thespians that he gives work to. And he used to be the kind of the godfather of the Petaluma radio players, and that's how I met him. And I was with the Petaluma radio players for about 3 years, and we did reproductions of radio plays, detective stories, and a Sherlock Holmes redo that was the script that was sent to us by this scriptwriter over in England, and he appreciated our rendition of his more modern plays about Sherlock Holmes. And we did a couple of them at the Hotel Petaluma's ballroom, and it was quite successful. And I don't know what Ralph is doing now, but he tried to, for a while, reconstruct the Petaluma radio players. Well, it didn't really do well. Okay. Rabbi Ted Fellman at B'nai Israel Temple here in Petaluma. And he's retired now, but my wife, who was Jewish, and I went down to a number of night courses and events at B'nai Israel, and I learned a fair amount about the Jewish religion. And before I go on with that, I am not religious of any kind. In fact, I am kind of anti-religious. And he calls me, this Rabbi Ted, called me his favorite pagan, a title that I wear proudly. Okay. Nariman, who way back in the day, he and I played basketball down in Mill Valley Middle School. He was one of the founders of Zandex, Xandex, which is a computer chip testing. I'm not sure. I'm very not with it as far as modern technology, but I don't know exactly how they test chips, but they did it. Okay, and Tim Conrad, who's in my class up in Sonora, and I won't give you guys the year of my graduation, but Tim wound up working for Child Protection Services down here in Sonoma County. And he, after he retired from that, became an excellent photographer, and occasionally shows his work at galleries around town here. Okay, more local shout-outs. Dave and Rosie up in Sacramento, Kevin and Lorian Katati, Stan and Kathy in Pacifica, and let's see. I'm doing this one without my notes, so forgive me for this. Jeez whiz. Aunt Jackie, my wife's best friend, and her two daughters, Melanie and Samantha. And, I hate brain freezes, and all of this crap will. Dennis and Megan and Tiburon. Uh, Rick in San Francisco and his wife. I worked with her for 5 years, and I say her name on every shout out. Oh, man. Okay, I guess I should dredge out some of my old shout out notes. Oh, Rich and Kathy in Sebastopol. Told you it would pop into my mind. Okay. Let's see. Rosita Takach and Dave in Sacramento. Stan and Yvonne. Damn, Yvonne Santos and Rick in San Francisco. Stan and Kathy, I mentioned them. Stan is the retired city attorney of Daly City, one of the smartest guys I've ever known in my life. Too smart to ever vote Republican. Are you listening, Stan? My brother Brandon in the Santan Valley of Arizona, and his wife Mina, and their daughter Andrea, who's a nurse down there, living in the Santan Valley as well, with her husband Tim, retired Marine Corps. Booyah! And their 3 little boys who are growing up faster than ever, it seems. Okay. And Karina Hilliard, this animal control officer of Patagonia, Arizona, her specialty is snake removal from people's houses. All right. Arkansas, Shannon Reed, Florida, Nelson and Alice Lydell. Nelson, I just got a good call from him today. After a long time, he's finally resurfaced, and we are catching up. Amelia Beamer over in Florida. Go on YouTube and type in Amelia Beamer and Locus magazine, Locus. And if you're into any of the 3 genres of science fiction, horror, and fantasy, she will tell you which books are being reviewed for the month by Locus magazine. So check her out if you're a fan of those genres. And all the way up in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, Dr. Dave, the world's greatest pulmonary physician. He is also retired, and he and I were roommates for almost 2 years here in San Francisco. And he eventually got married to a nurse here. She was a very good friend of mine. And anyway, he wound up in Chicago, which led him to Raleigh-Durham, where he retired from the from medicine, and went to work for SmithGlaxoKline, from which he also retired and took up his artistic talents. And I think he's up in Chicago now and having his work shown by the Lost Artists Collective there in Chicago. And check him out at Dave Rubin Painting. And I think it's .org or could be .net. And check out his rather unique and weird take on reality. Ooh. And then back here on the West Coast, up in Sonora, Robert Finnegan, Bob and Sandy Fisher, and their 2 kids, Brad and Martha. Brad is the godfather of the Historical Society of Tuolumne County. That's where Sonora is. And he rides herd on a number of volunteers who go through all the donated stuff when people retire or sell their ranch house that has been in their families for, you know, for 100 years or so, and they've accumulated memorabilia of life in Tuolumne County, going all the way back to the gold rush. And he sorts it all out, catalogs it, and puts it into his computer. He's the computer maven for that. Okay, and Darrell Larson, Judy May, Kathy Francis, Lynn Quayle, who splits her time between Manhattan and Sonora. What a contrast in lifestyles. The reason she goes to Manhattan now and then is she owns a rent-controlled property. I think it's an apartment or a condo or something. And to maintain the rent-controlled status, she has to spend at least 6 months actually living there. But she loves Sonora. And so after her 6-month tour of duty is up, she comes back to Sonora, her old stomping grounds. She graduated a couple of years before me up there. And then all the way up Highway 108, John Gleason and his two daughters, Tiffany and Tiffany and Jennifer. Wow. Neither live up there with him, but they live in their own, wherever they are now, I don't know. But they listen in to this ranting every now and then. And all the way down in Mexico City, Rosamalia Negrete, Rosamalia Lopez Negrete. Jeez. Okay. And she sends me pictures on my Facebook page of tropical birds every now and then. They're quite beautiful, but I just have to believe that a lot of the photos she sends me have been photoshopped. But they're good anyway. I like seeing them. Okay, enough of that. Okay, here's a saying that I ran across, and I believe it thoroughly. Science will admit when it is wrong. Religion will kill to prove it is right. Hello, Islam, and its laws in certain Islamic countries about blasphemy. Okay, science, I've gotten, not lately, but I've gotten into some discussions with religious people, mainly Christians, and when I bring up science, this one guy that I've had a discussion with will bring up scientism. You know, look it up. Okay. And scientism is not the same thing as science. Scientism, in their misguided thinking, is the claim that science is a set of established facts. Well, there's really no such thing as that. All facts, scientifically, not proven. There is no such thing as ultimate proof in science. That's why we have journals of various scientific endeavors, and they're peer-reviewed. They can be challenged. Whoever scientist is claiming something, like black holes are the ultimate source of universal energy. Well, if some scientist claims that, he has to submit a paper to a peer-reviewed journal, and he'll probably get a lot of flack in the journal about that. Well, there's no such thing as that type of checking facts in religion. In fact, divine revelations are the final word of religion, not just in Christianity, although they're one of the worst offenders, but all religions. The Bhagavad Gita is the final word in Hinduism. The Quran is the final word in Islam. And I'm not a religious scholar, but every religion has its holy book. And ours happens to be the Bible. And there is so many versions of the Christian Bible that how could Christians believe in only one of them? Well, they can't, or they try to anyway. Okay, I'm off on an riff here. Okay, science will admit when it is wrong. Religion will kill to prove it is right. Okay, I need a sip of water. Okay, new topic. Kamala Harris was never President Biden's quote-unquote border czar, CZAR, like the Republicans claim. Her first foreign trip as vice president in June of 2021 was to Guatemala City, where she bluntly said, and this is a quote, "I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the U.S.-Mexico border. Do not come." She paused for dramatic effect. Do not come. And what she and President Biden were attempting to do on her involvement in Central American countries was to attempt to alleviate the root causes of immigration from those countries up to the Mexico-U.S. border. And the root causes are violence, gangs down in Nicaragua and El Salvador are just out of control, and poverty and joblessness, and the difficulty of making a living with farming down in those countries. Guatemala, Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Honduras. Those are the main countries that generate a lot of immigrants that want to seek a better life for themselves and their families by making the long trek all the way through Mexico to the United States-Mexico border. And, in a way, I don't blame them for coming, but if we could do, by we, I mean the United States, could do to, with foreign aid or other means, to alleviate some of the poverty and gangs down in those countries, that would help the immigration problem a lot. Okay? The hateful GOP Republican MAGA heads would just as soon stick needles in their eyes as give foreign aid to any of those countries. Okay. Whew. Another sip. Okay. Warning. Don't let the Republican Party play you. And by you, I mean union members. All you union members, of which I am one. I am in the Teamsters and I am in the UFCW, the Union of Food and Commercial Workers. I'm collecting a small but significant pension from both those places. And I worked for 10 years in the beer industry, not delivering beer, but taking orders from store owners, hotels, bars, and restaurants. And because of that 10 years, I am vested in the program that gives me a small pension each month. And then I transitioned to working for Safeway, which was in the UFCW. And I worked for them for nearly 20 years, enough to get vested. And I'm collecting a substantial pension from them as well. And they also contribute a small amount, but significant amount, to Kaiser. And through them, I don't pay anything because, now I'm with Medicare. And the extra money that the UFCW pays, I don't know whether they pay it directly to Kaiser or pay it into Medicare. I'm not sure about how that works. But whatever it is, I don't pay anything for my drugs or my treatments that Kaiser has been giving me these 50 years. Okay. Cut ahead to the Republican National Convention. They had Teamsters President Sean O'Brien speak at the Republican Convention. O'Brien, in doing this, accepting this invitation, hoped that the hateful GOP would at least say something nice about working union families or unions in general themselves. Instead, the orange sociopathic bloat bag went off on unions during his rambling 93-minute convention speech, most of which were lies. He blamed the United Auto Workers for auto plants being built in Mexico, as if they had anything to do about it. Yeah. The orange sociopathic bloat bag went off on UAW President Shawn Fain, saying he, quote, should be fired immediately. Fain, the next day, said the orange sociopathic bloat bag, now he didn't say that, he named the previous president, stands for everything we stand against. He went on, corporate greed and the billionaire's hero, mascot, and lapdog, Donald Trump, are the problem. Don't get played by this scab billionaire. There's only one thing wrong with that statement. Trump is not a billionaire now, nor has he ever been. He lost all of the millions of dollars that his dad gave him to start his fortune raising. Well, Donald the Trumpety Dump is not a good businessman, regardless of what The Apprentice television show might have led his stupid followers to believe. He lost it all. And the only reason he had any at all left over after his bankruptcies was that he used bankruptcies to hang on to some, but he was convicted of fraud. Remember Trump University? Do you remember Trump Steaks? Do you remember Trump Water? All of them failures. And Donald Trump is not now and has never been a billionaire. And he's dragging a lot of his aides and upper followers like Rudy Giuliani, he's dragging them all down with him. And I don't feel sorry for them. Okay. Whew. Another sip. A watch out warning. Okay. DEI hire is the current N word. And I will use the N word, nigger word, which the hateful Republican MAGA heads and conservatives and racists in the party, which is most of them, they will use DEI hire to mean that word. It's an N-word substitute. Hateful, racist MAGAs. Lost my place. Hateful, racist MAGAs and Republicans will be using DEI hire when you, instead of the N-word. Call them out for it. Call it out when you see it or hear it. Female achievement is viewed by the hateful GOP as she slept her way to the top. They've already said that about Kamala Harris. And before I go on, rumors of having had an affair with Willie Brown here in San Francisco. I don't know whether it was a full-blown affair, but they dated for a while when she was an up-and-coming politician in San Francisco before she was elected district attorney. And I don't know any more than that, but they will bring it up, saying that she just slept her way to the top. She was always elected by voters. Imagine that, GOP. So she did not sleep her way to the top. Okay, here's a recommendation from the Midnight Skeptic of a song. Randy Rainbow's Kamala. Go to YouTube and type that in. Okay? Listen to the song the whole way through. Now, it was made for the 2020 election when Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris as his vice presidential running mate. Okay? And he made this song up for that occasion. It will drive racist and anti-LGBTQ MAGAs insane. And the orange sociopathic bloat bag is featured in a couple of snippets on the video portion of the song. But I like a lot of the things that Randy Rainbow does. But Google him on YouTube. You'll love it. Okay. Uh, Good news. More good news. Wow. Kellyanne Conway's daughter, Claudia, she's 19 now, um, is publicly going after her mother. Um, you remember Kellyanne Conway, the alternative facts lady and orange sociopathic bloat bag supporter, and calling her mother out when Kellyanne goes after Biden, and she's now going after Kamala. Go Generation Z. Okay. There's so much excitement in this country about Kamala Harris's being on the top of the Democratic ticket. Well, not formally yet, but she will be. And there's so much excitement amongst younger people, black people, women, and I cannot see the orange sociopathic bloat bag winning the November election. I just can't see it. And I'm optimistic. Okay? I'm off my notes. Oh, more good news. Elon Musk is backing down from his $45 million per month pledge to the orange sociopathic bloat bag. He says he doesn't, quote, subscribe to the cult of personality. Good for him, and I rarely ever say anything good about Elon Musk. Okay. What time is it? Okay, it's 42 minutes. All right, let me go. Got one more page of notes here. All right. Bad news. Well, maybe. J.D. Vance update. He may have grown up poor, but these days he's just a smart, unscrupulous politician using his background to hide the extent to which he represents the values and interests of plutocrats. His book makes it clear that at least to a degree he looks down on those who haven't managed the measure of his professional trajectory. His book is Hillbilly Elegy, by the way. J.D. Vance has been supported and mentored by Silicon Valley venture capitalist Peter Thiel, who Vance met following a talk Thiel gave at Yale Law School, where J.D. Vance went in 2011. This was the year of the talk that Peter Thiel gave there. Vance transitioned from law to venture capital and joined Mithril Capital in 2015, which company Thiel founded in 2014. Vance published Hillbilly Elegy in 2016 and began thinking of a run for office. Vance launched his own venture capital firm, Narya Capital, capital N-A-R-Y-A, Capital, in 2019. Thiel brought Vance to Mar-a-Lago in 2021 to bootlick the orange sociopathic bloat bag. Vance ran for Ohio Senate in the 2022 election. Thiel contributed more than $15 million to Vance's run. Ohio, the election wasn't real close, but J.D. Vance squeaked out. And I'm off my notes, but I'm a bit forgetful about who his opponent was. I think it was the incumbent Democratic senator. Okay, sip, 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 sip. Anyway, Vance hasn't been the Ohio senator for very long, but bootlicking Vance has been chosen by the orange sociopathic bloat bag to be his running mate. Okay, new topic. Obituary. Bobby Greer, whom hardly anybody out there has probably heard of, died at the age of 91, fairly recently. He was a University of Pittsburgh fullback who in 1956 became the first black football player to take the field in the Sugar Bowl, played every year in New Orleans. Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh's opponent, might have been banned from playing due to objections from Georgia's segregationist governor, Marvin Griffin. The races shouldn't be mixed on the field or in the stands, Governor Griffin said. Weeks before the game, Rosa Parks was arrested in Montgomery, Alabama, for not giving her seat up to a white person. This was in the years of segregation in the United States, mainly in the South, but not exclusively in the South. We had real estate redlining almost everywhere in this country, but such things can't be talked about. Otherwise, it's critical race theory, the dreaded CRT that MAGA heads warn us about having our kids learn about. And I said in last week's show that I do not believe that our kids in, grammar school, middle school, high school would feel discomfort or shame if they knew, through history lessons mainly, that we had a racist country in certain parts of our country in those years following World War II, or even before that, like in 1921 when the Tulsa race riots occurred. I do not believe, if this material is presented right by well-educated, well-trained teachers, our kids will not suffer. The only ones that will suffer are the hateful MAGA heads, and they deserve to suffer. Okay. All right. Good news to end the show on. The Port Chicago 50 were exonerated by Navy Secretary Carlos Del Toro on Wednesday, July 17th, like last month. 80 years before, in 1944, a huge explosion occurred there at the small town and Navy ammunition loading facility, Port Chicago. um, killing 320 mostly black sailors. And the Navy ordered them to get back to work. We have these shells to load onto ships. Well, 50 of the sailors refused to follow orders and do the work, for which they were not adequately trained, and there were not adequate safety features that were instituted at the Port Chicago facility. Well, these 50 sailors were put on, lost my notes. Oh, they were court-martialed and found guilty. Some of them were imprisoned at a federal prison at hard labor. Okay, damn, what's the one in Kansas? Leavenworth, Kansas. Okay, cut ahead to now. They were exonerated, and their records were of being found guilty were done away with, and their families, none of them are alive now, but their families were quite relieved, and certificates were given to the surviving family members of their exoneration. It was about time, and that incident also gives you a hint, if our school kids were taught about it, about what our racist military and society was like back in those days. President Harry Truman was the one who desegregated our military. Okay? Good for him. And it wasn't like with a snap of the fingers, everything was hunky-dory. It took a couple of years for all of the military barracks, the job classifications, and mess halls were desegregated. And it took even longer for whites and blacks to learn that they're not so different from each other. They're not different at all and should be friends. Okay. Whew. Okay, let me play my play out music. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. I can't express enough encouragement for people out there, should you be lucky enough to have a cat, to pet your cats. And this t-shirt that I'm wearing now, see that picture there? It's me as a freshman in high school. And underneath that it says Mr. Wonderful. One of the organizers of our 50th high school reunion had these t-shirts made up. And I don't know why she, and this was Judy May, by the way, had Mr. Wonderful under my picture. I think she made different comments under each of our are pictures. So I don't know what she put on the other t-shirt pictures, but I've saved this all these years, and now I'm determined to wear it now and then. Okay, so here is my promise to you that next week I will have more information about Kamala Harris. And please look up Randy Rainbow and Kamala, his song about her at that time as a vice president. Well, now she's going to be at the top of the ticket. Let's all rejoice at the impending demise of the orange sociopathic bloat bag. Okay, until next week, I'm going to stop recording right now.